All right, let's be honest. Am I here to kind of sell some bluegrass bugs? Maybe talk you into going and using my discount code to buy some yum dingers? Or get some Hellgrammites? Yeah, probably. But also, these are my favorite lures, and I get asked a lot how I rig these. The bluegrass bugs are new. They just came out this year, so a lot of people may have not fished them. I've been fishing Hellgrammites, Nikos, and other brands for many, many years, and I've learned that this yum dinger has become one of my most confident baits, my go-to lures for bass fishing, and I've caught so many good fish, so many PBs, bass, spotted bass, PBs, largemouth PB, several 6-pounders, got muskie on both of these lures and over 6 pound bass on both of these lures. Hasn't happened with this one yet, but I'm sure it's coming. I've already caught some 4-pound smallmouth on these. So let me show you real quick how I rig them, and hopefully you don't have to, I'm not expecting you to do exactly as I do, but take maybe some of this knowledge, a little bit of knowledge I have, and some of my experience, I'd say, and use it how it would fit you and how it can fit your way of fishing or how you fish, because everywhere is different. I'm in East Tennessee, I fish a lot of small creeks, a lot of shallow rivers, and not very often very many deep lakes. Now we have a few, but it's not something I typically do. So let's start. How do I rig them, and like what are the hooks I use? Let's just go through them. Now remember, do whatever fits your way of fishing, but for me, my main goal always is weedless, weedless, weedless. I want to be able to throw whatever lure I'm throwing into any brush pile, under rocks, under ledges, under sticks. Let that lure fall down in there, tumble around, and then pull that lure back out. Will you get snagged? Yes, but that's where the fish live. The fish they do live in the open sometimes, but there's so many fish that are hidden away, tucked away, and if you don't get that lure down into them or down right where they're at and right in front of their face, they're not gonna eat it. So that's my main thing, is always, how can I be as weedless as possible? Now you can use regular jig heads, like any kind of Z-Man or Ned rig style jig heads. Here's some weedless options that you can add a weight to it. That's a weightless one. We'll show that later. You can also throw some of these lures, like the bluegrass bug or the Hellgrammite, the Nico ones, top water. Maybe you just want to put a wacky rig on it, or that's a wacky rig hook for the yum dingers. Mule fishing has these jig heads. Ethan likes to use these. I think it's a 3 32nd ounce, a little bit heavier. He usually fishes things a little bit deeper. But you can drop shot these or do whatever you want, but this is how I do it. So let's just get into my style and what I use. I can find the package for this one. This is the Blockhead Offset in it's an owner called Blockhead Offset. This is a 1/16 ounce. It's a 1/0 size hook. I have a lot of faith and trust in this hook, this setup. It's great. If I want to go smaller, or what I've been using more on the bluegrass bug, is a Z-Man mushroom style head, and it's also a weedless offset style, and it's a size 1. For the Hellgrammites, I like using the Z-Man Bullet Z. I think that's the name of the head, and it's a size 1. It's a smaller hook too, offset. So all these hooks are offset to make them weedless. And this one's probably the most versatile. I can use it on all my stuff and use it so many different ways. And the owner Blockhead, or any kind of 1/16 ounce to 1/10 ounce, 1/8 ounce offset jig head. And they may be called Ned rig offset jig heads, or just different ways, but just find one that's offset, just makes it weedless. But I'll show you with the Blockhead probably, because that's just the easiest one to show. And then you can tweak it however you want. There's a lot of different ways, and there's not a wrong way. So don't think that if you hooked yours upside down, or you hooked it backwards, or this or that, it doesn't make much difference. It's more important where you're fishing it, where you're getting that fish hook into, or where you're getting that lure thrown into. I tend to lean towards really light jig heads, because I'm fishing a lot of times 2, 3, 4 foot of water, and I like my lure to sink slowly into it, or let a little drift in the current. If you fish a lot of deeper water, or if I'm lake fishing, I might go a little heavier. The mule fishing bluegrass bug is only a 2-inch lure, but it's very thick. It's a short and thick lure. You can watch more videos about that lure that I have on my channel, and also mule fishing on Fish Anything Ethan has. And yeah, there's some eyes up top. There's appendages that, you know, kind of go that way. You might think, oh, I like rigging it this way, or I rig it this way. I don't know if it makes any difference which way you hook it. Like literally, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. A fish is gonna be like, nah, that looks upside down to me. This just looks like a little bug with some little appendages coming off and little creature bait that you can shave these appendages off and still catch fish. You can cut it in half, still catch fish. Not every little detail on thing is the most important. Like I said, it's more about where you're getting it down there and doing nothing more. All these lures are the best do nothing baits. I'm not trying to work them with a certain kind of, you know, twitch most of the time. It's throw it in the area, let it sink to the bottom, or let them hit it on the fall, or let it drift in the current. So most of the time on these lures, I'm just gonna hook it like a Ned rig, go through the top, you know, come out, pull it around, and then you're gonna stick it back through. You can go right through the middle there. And there we go, it's weedless. I can let that kind of sit like that where there's a gap, or I can tuck it in. And there you go. Yeah, there's a little gap up here. You know what, I ain't gonna make any difference. If I was gonna redo it, I would redo it, make it a little closer. You can throw it like that. This lure does float, so it is gonna float down. When I throw a Hellgrammite or the bluegrass bug is more, I like it in current. So I'm gonna throw it in the current and let it tumble. Let that thing, it's just gonna kind of tumble around. So yeah, there's one way. You also can do it sideways, which I like doing sometimes too. Go through the side of the head, come out the side of it, come around, go back through the side, and then it's a little more flatter. This is how I like doing the Hellgrammites more often. So it's a little flatter in line, and maybe it helps it tumble a little bit. Yeah, so there it is. That's basically simple how it is. Now, if I have to choose, I'm usually going to go with the Z-Man because it's a little bit smaller, tighter hook. It also comes with a hook, a little keeper up here. This and the Nico stuff are very stretchy, and you can hold them up there. This is a 1/10 ounce. This is a 1/16 ounce. I've been liking the 1/10 ounce. You know, how much difference in weight is that? Not much at all. So I'm not saying it's not a big difference or anything. Let's pull out a Nico Hellgrammite, which I'm going to fish the Hellgrammite and the bluegrass bug are very similar. Now this one is 3 inches, a little skinnier, got more appendages on it. It's definitely has like a head to it. Does it matter which way you rig it up? I don't think so. But because this material is really thick and dense, it's very stretchy, very tough. But because it's dense, I like to go sideways. So I'll stick it in the head. And if you try to like run a lure all the way through it, it gets really hard. And then I'll come back out the side here. Boom. There we go. Got a nice sideways. How much do fish see a hook? No, that's a hook. I don't think they know much of anything when they see something like that. I throw lures with giant hooks on them and they come up and eat it. So this is a finesse or presentation where a lot of times that fish is really looking at it and really like studying it. But I like going sideways because I think it lets it roll a little bit better. You can do it however you want. I've caught fish hooking it a bunch of different ways, but remember the main thing on these lures, these little creature bait, Ned rig style lures, is let that thing sit there longer than you would normally do it. Give it an extra 5 seconds when you throw it somewhere. If you throw it in the current and you let it tumble down, let it tumble a little longer. If you throw it in a little pocket, don't think, oh, I gotta twitch it to get it to bite. No, just let these lures sit and do nothing. They get more bites that way. I've seen it so many times and I've told people to do it and I've watched them catch fish when they weren't catching fish by letting that lure sit another 5 to 10 seconds in a spot. Especially if it's a place like, I know there's a fish in there. That looks too good, or there's gotta be a fish, so somebody just let it sit there and then kind of pull up slow on it. And a lot of times there'll be a fish where if you throw in there, then pull out. Throw in there and pull out, pull out. You're not gonna get as many bites. Now we got some Yum Hellgrammites, and these are also 3 inch. They are a softer plastic, but for the Yum ones, I'm gonna go back with the owner jig head. This is a softer plastic. It's gonna tear a little easier. I like this one. This hook works a little bit better, I feel like. And 1/16 ounce, again, it's just, that's what I'm gonna go to. I have so many of these hooks. Well, I go through a lot of them. I do lose a lot. Like, I don't lose nearly as many as I see people that fish with an open hook. I'm getting my hook back. I'm losing maybe 1 or 2 a day when they're losing 7 or 8 most of the time. And it usually allows me to catch my fish. The less you're hooked up on a stick, the more times you're catching fish. Or you throw it down in that spot and you try to get it out and it gets hung, but there was a fish gonna come eat it. Where I'm down in there and I move my lure and I still catch that fish. So the Yum ones are great. But let's go to the Yum Dinger. Right there, that's it. I have so much confidence in that lure. I don't know why it works. Bubblegum yellow swirl or bubblegum lemon swirl. I've seen it called both things. A 4-inch. Fish it like a Ned rig. So it's nothing crazy I'm doing. I'm actually fishing it about as simple as you can fish it. There is a little slot if you want to use that, but it doesn't make any difference. So I'm just gonna rig it up top just like I would do the Hellgrammite or anything else. Bring it around. Let's see, stick it in there. Oop, get to there. And there we go. There's a little crooked, that doesn't matter. Throw it in there, got it weedless. And then that way when you pull it through something, it still, sometimes get stuck. You're like, I'm gonna tuck that back in there. But most time it's not getting stuck. Let that thing fall and do its thing. With that head, it's gonna fall down. Most of the time, that lure is laying flat on the bottom and I watch fish come pick it off. Or just falling and they'll hit it. But that's also another lure, just do nothing. Let that thing just fall in there, maybe pop it up off the bottom a little bit, let it fall back down, and let the fish just come eat it. I don't know why, but I've got so many fish on that. And it's not it's not buoyant like the Z-Man Ned rigs or like some other Ned rig stuff, where they got 4-inch Ned rigs that are buoyant, they need to stand up. I mean, I've seen lures that stand up. I don't know if they catch more fish than the ones that lay down, personally. Now, somebody might like, oh, they catch, 7% more fish. But all I know is I catch a lot of fish on that, a lot of bass, smallmouth, largemouth, spots, muskie, all kinds of stuff. So, and if I don't want to use a jig head, and I'm going with the either one of these lures, but more than likely, since this sinks on its own, I want to keep it simple and go weightless. I'm going to rig it up the same way, just without a jig head, just on a non-jig head offset hook. Now that's a 1/0 size. It's a very thin wire. When I'm fishing this, I throw it on a spinning rod, the same rod I fish all these. I'll show you in a second. But I like a very thin wire hook because a lot of times when these fish bite it, they're biting it very soft. And I'm using a spinning rod. And maybe I don't have as much leverage as like a heavier rod. I like a 6'10", 6'9", 6'10" medium. You can use any kind of medium, 6'6" to 7 foot. I feel like it does well. It casts that well. I use braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. But the main thing is the fluorocarbon leader is mainly about abrasion resistance. There's so many rocks around here. But you can use mono leader. You can use straight mono. You can straight fluoro. You can use straight braid. And I've done it all and caught fish all with them. But my favorite setup is like a 10 or 15-pound braid with about a 6 foot of a fluorocarbon 10-pound leader. And I can throw it weightless, the same, and let it sink, or maybe just kind of skip it across the top, let that lure sink, like the Yum Dingers. Or put the 1/16 ounce jig head and let that thing just slowly sink. And I can fish the same jig head with all those lures. Or I can go a little heavier if I need to, but that setup works really well. But you know what you can also do, besides these three? I'll use that same owner jig head on swim baits, little swim baits. Why would you want to go weedless on a swim bait? I can let that thing drop like a Ned rig or fall into a deep hole. You know what? You can fish a swim bait just like a Ned rig or a Yum Dinger and let it hit the bottom and they'll pick it up the same way. You can just reel it and swim it in through a lot of brush and debris and not get caught. A fluke, maybe you want to use it weightless or with the jig head and fish a fluke. You can twitch it, keep it weedless, same jig head, get through a lot of stuff. Maybe a little crawl or creature bait or anything. I just think a lot of people don't realize fishing a lure weedless is such a big advantage. Do you lose more fish? I don't think so. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible you can lose a couple more fish because they could have got it twisted up on there. I've fished a lot of lures with a bare hook, and I've lost all kinds of fish that way. But I catch more fish with that owner jig head. I feel like I hook up on them more than I do with just a regular straight open hook. I don't know why, but it's just that's why I go to that. A lot of these things I use is because I've proven to myself over time and time again that these work, and I go back to them and they keep working. That's why I use those lures. And if I find something else that works, I keep trying other ones, but then I keep coming back to these. But hopefully I'll keep finding new ones to add. So there's my setup. If you want to buy mule fishing, the bluegrass bugs don't have a discount code, but anything on the bluegrass bugs that sell, I get a little profit. If you want to get some Yum Dingers or Yum Hellgrammites, I have a discount code where I get a little kickback. And if you want to support Nico, they're very good quality lures. They one of the first companies that sent me things. They got Hellgrammites plus other lures. Or you can go, Bass Pro has Hellgrammites. You can, people make their own Hellgrammites. There's a lot of different brands out there making them. There's a lot of different stick baits. Most of them probably work pretty close to the same. There's a lot of different companies that make jerk baits. So whatever you have, just maybe you're like, oh, I have to have that brand. Most of the time, it's not exactly that. Now, I do use these because I think these are the best for what I'm doing. But are they the only ones that work? No, I've caught fish on all kinds of brands. I've tried lots of different things. So whatever you have, just maybe you need to start fishing a little bit differently, fishing a little more confidently and slowly, especially in the early spring and winter. You got slow. In summer, it gets a little, they get a little more aggressive. But maybe you're like, I never use weedless stuff. I'm always afraid to throw it in there. Well, try hooking it up weedless and just count on you can set the hook and pin that fish. And use a thin wire hook really helps to get those hook sets. Well, it's springtime. I've been thinking about making this video for a while. Hopefully it helps somebody out, gives you some, maybe just an extra idea or an extra thought. You don't have to buy any of the things I've said today, but you can still maybe learn something or maybe take some techniques from how I fish and maybe help you go out there and catch some more fish because it's that time again. Also, Easter's coming up this weekend. We're serving a risen Savior, and Easter time's a great reminder. Jesus rose from the grave. All these bugs are coming out of their little holes. All these fish are showing up out of their little holes, and it's getting a good time of the year. Thanks for watching.